Alright boys and girls, I hope you're having a lovely day, okay? Today boys, I wanted to talk about the PS4, okay? And I wanted to talk about it for one reason and one reason only, okay? The games are ridiculously cheap. Now for those that know me, I'm a stingy guy, okay? I don't like spending a ton of money on video games, okay? I like to keep it nice and cheap where it's possible, okay? And the PS4 is just filled with tons of cheap games. I almost wish that I'd bought these games when they were cheaper.
Give me the cheap game!
I've got an absolutely massive stack of games here, okay? So obviously I'm not going to go into like super detail about every single one of these games. I'll just talk about them briefly. And each one of these games you can get for £10 or less. I'm going off of CEX's prices because I just feel like that's the best way to do the prices, okay? So each one of these games you can get for £10 or less at CEX, which again blows my mind because in my opinion that's just dirt cheap. So we're going to kick things off then boys with a game called Ollie Ollie, okay? This is Ollie Ollie 1 and 2 in a nice little collection here, and this is a game that's not going to blow you away graphically, okay? It's quite a simple game to be honest, but it's honestly one of my favorite skateboarding games ever, okay? Especially the first one. The first one just has such a perfect soundtrack and it's super fun, and in fact I was actually playing it yesterday because it's one of those games that you can just put it in and play. And I've always loved these games, okay? They're just again super duper fun, very addictive, and they've always got good soundtracks, and yeah, you can get this for like £6 at CEX, which is crazy. I think I paid quite a bit for this. I think I paid a good like 20 or quid for it at the time. And funnily enough, this is the only way you can actually own these games physically, is on the PS4 for some reason. You can't get this on the Switch physically, you can't get it on the Vita physically, but if you want to own these games physically, you have to get the PS4 version, and for £6 you can't really go wrong, okay? So if you like your skateboarding games, if you're into, I mean it's not very similar to Tony Hawk's, but if you like those kinds of skateboarding games, then Ollie Ollie is going to do you well. Okay, next up lads, we have got The Order 1886, okay? This is a game that I'm actually going to be talking about on this channel probably next week. I think I'm going to do a whole video on it. And this is a game, when it initially came out, this was like, it didn't review super well and people were a little bit disappointed with it, I remember. I think a lot of that reason is the game was super short, and it is, to be fair, it is a very short game. This is a game you could honestly beat in a couple of days easily. I think it took me like 2 days.
That's it?
But you can pick this game up right now, lads, for £8, okay? And for £8, I feel like even though it is short, it's still worth it, okay? Because the small amount of time you will spend on this game is really fun. In my opinion, it has a super good story, it has great characters, the graphics in this game are mind-blowing. Like, this is one of the early PS4 games, but you would think it came out, like, towards the end. Like, this is up there with, like, The Last of Us Part 2, Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, graphically, this is top tier. And yeah, it's just a super fun game. It's basically just your average third-person shooter, but you've got some awesome guns in there, some great weapon variety, and also the setting in this game, okay? I'm a sucker for Victorian London games. I really liked Assassin's Creed Syndicate when that came out, and that was a similar sort of setting. And yeah, I just enjoyed this game, lads, you know? It is short, you can beat this game in like 5, maybe 6 hours tops, but it was still fun in my opinion, so I would recommend this one if you can get it. Okay then boys, next up we've actually got a couple of games here because you can pick up both of these games for £4, and that is going to be these two Wolfenstein games, okay? Both of these games, in my opinion, are absolutely excellent first-person shooters. They've both got incredible stories, great characters, and they're incredibly fun as well. You just go around and kill Nazis. I mean, what's not to love about that?
We're gonna be doing one thing, and one thing only. Killing Nazis.
Yeah, I love both of these games back in the day. I especially liked Wolfenstein 2. I just preferred that one for some reason. I think it was maybe the story I just slightly preferred. But yeah, both of these games are dirt cheap, okay? I mean, £4 each is crazy cheap, and they're just very fun first-person shooters. So if you haven't played them, definitely check them out. They're really good. Okay then, boys, next up we got a game that I actually talked about fairly recently on the channel, okay? And that's going to be Assassin's Creed Black Flag. This game is £10 at CEX, and in my opinion, this is the best, like, Assassin's Creed game ever made, okay? So I think it's worth that money. This game has incredible ship combat, it has a super good story, and it has great characters as well. You've got Edward Kenway, that in my opinion is one of the best Assassin's Creed protagonists out there. It's got some other good like supporting cast as well. Graphically, this game I think has aged really well, okay? This was like a launch title for the PS4 I think, and it looks really impressive. Yeah, you can actually pick up most of the Assassin's Creed games now for like super cheap. I don't know what it is with like Ubisoft titles, but they always get like really cheap. But yeah, in my opinion, this is the best one you can get right now, okay, for cheap. £10 for Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and that's a no-brainer in my opinion. Okay then boys, next up we've got a game that actually made me buy my PS4, okay? This was like the reason I actually bought a PS4, and that is going to be Batman Arkham Knight, okay? You can actually see this is my original copy, okay? You can see that not to be sold separately because I bought the PS4 bundle with this with it. And yeah, I absolutely love the Batman Arkham games, okay? You can probably tell by the Batman Arkham poster. You guys might have even watched my last video on Batman Arkham Asylum. Yeah, back in the day I was just such a huge Batman Arkham fan. I mean, I am now, like I still love it, but back then there was like my favorite series ever. And this one is a slightly controversial like one in the series, okay, because it's not everybody's favorite. It's not my favorite. In fact, I'd actually maybe even say it's my least favorite in the series, but I just love all the games so much that even though this is my least favorite, I still love it. Graphically, this game is honestly mind-blowing. I still think this is one of the best looking games on the PS4 in my opinion. Like when you're gliding away in like the rain and you can see the rain dripping off of Batman's cape, like that shit is still fucking hardcore. And the story in this one, in my opinion, is not the best, okay? It's a little bit all over the place at times, so I won't tell you guys that the story is a must play, but the gameplay is still super fun, okay? This game's got some great mechanics. You can drive around the Batmobile as well, which is cool.
The Batmobile!
It's just an overall super fun game, and you can get this game for £8, okay? So for that price, you can't really go wrong. Okay then, boys, next up we got a game that is part of a series that I think is ridiculously underrated, okay? And that's gonna be Infamous Second Son. The Infamous series is so underrated, like you don't hear enough people talk about it. I must admit, I still need to play Infamous 2. That's one I haven't actually played. I've played the first one and it's like so good. This one I've also played, I liked it a lot. I haven't played this game in a really long time, okay? It's been a very long time since I played it, but yeah, I remember playing it and just having a really good time with it, okay? The Infamous games are just incredibly fun and enjoyable. You can pick this one up for £4, okay? So that's one of the cheaper games on this list so far, and it is definitely worth that price, okay? That is insanely cheap for how good this game is. Okay then, boys, speaking of cheap, okay, this game is somehow even cheaper than Infamous, okay? I think this is the cheapest game on the list, okay? And that's gonna be Just Cause 3. You can pick this up for £3. Alright, CX, that is that's a bargain. This game is just like destruction porn. That's the best way that I can describe it, okay? If you like blowing shit up, you need Just Cause in your life, okay? You can pick up any of the Just Cause games for cheap, but this one I think is the cheapest you can get. Yeah, you just go around and just blow things up. It's so enjoyable. It's dumb fun, you know? It's quite silly, and the story is kind of shit, I won't lie. But maybe you've just had like a tough day at work, you want to blow off some steam, you want to just explode things. This is the game for you, okay? This is just an action movie in a video game format. It's dumb fun. It's not gonna blow you away. It's not like Red Dead Redemption 2 or anything like that, but it's just really enjoyable. Okay, next up, lads, we've got a game that is a bit spooky, okay, and that's gonna be Until Dawn, okay? This is a perfect Halloween game, which is unfortunately just been, so we've missed that window of opportunity here, but I talked about this game on Halloween a little bit, and it's such a good game, okay? It's just perfect, you know? It's like a Halloween movie in a game format.
Oh, I'm fucking shitting myself.
You obviously decide like the decisions that the different characters make, and you can decide whether or not they're gonna die, and I don't know, it's really good. It's super fun, very replayable as well. I've played this game a couple of times, and I think all the times I've played it, it's felt different every time, you know? So yeah, if you like your spooky games, lads, then I would definitely recommend Until Dawn. I remember when I got this when it came out, and yeah, it was one of my favorite early PS4 memories. Okay then, boys, next up we got a game that was kind of like a mixed one for me. I had a mixed experience with this game, not that I hated it by any means, but I just had a bit of a weird one with it, and that is Titanfall 2. I remember picking this up when it came out, okay? I remember I bought this, and I bought Battlefield 1, and I think I bought Watch Dogs 2 all at the same time. I think I had some birthday money, and I spent a ton of money on a bunch of PS4 stuff. And I bought this game purely for that multiplayer experience back then, okay? That's what I wanted it for. But I didn't really click with the multiplayer. I just didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would. With that said though, lads, I absolutely adored the campaign to this one. I didn't think I would like the campaign that much, you know? Most of the time when you get these multiplayer shooters, the campaign is more of an afterthought. But with this game, the campaign just blew me away. It was so fun and enjoyable. It was absolutely perfect. You can get this game right now for £6, okay, and that is too good a price to let this one slip by, okay? The campaign to this game is so good, and I'm almost positive you can still play the multiplayer for this one as well. So if you want a fun multiplayer experience, then you might enjoy this one. Me personally, I didn't really love the multiplayer, but I know a lot of people out there do. Okay then, boys, next up we've got a game that is probably like top 3 of like my favorite PS4 games ever, and that is going to be God of War 2018, okay? I absolutely love this game, okay? It is perfection. Graphically, this game looks stunning, okay? I mean, it looks like a PS5 game. It's so good looking. The story to this game was so good, okay? Start to finish, it just had me on the edge of my seat.
Look out, boy! What? Boy?
Look, Dad, I'm not a boy anymore. I'm a teenager now. For real, for real.
The gameplay is one of those things where I hear a lot of people criticize it for some reason, and they say that, oh, it's almost like a movie, it's like you're hardly playing it. I see that sometimes. That's pure bullshit, okay? The gameplay to this game is fantastic if you know what you're doing. This is a game that will just hook you from minute one, and it's perfect, okay? And it's also a good starting point if you've never played a God of War game. This is obviously partly like a reboot as well as a sequel, so yeah, it's a good starting point if you've never played a God of War game. You can get this one for £10, okay? And in my opinion, for a game that is this high quality, that is absolutely worth every penny. Okay then, boys, next up we've got a game that is a little bit weird, okay? It's weird and wonderful, okay? And that's going to be YAKUZA 0, okay? This was my first like Yakuza game that I really got into. I remember playing Yakuza 3 and 4 back in the day, and it just didn't click with me, you know? And I think obviously I was starting off like halfway through the series, so it just didn't really quite click with me. But YAKUZA 0 is like a what's the word? It's like a pro... What am I trying to... A prequel. I don't know why that word it just vanished from my brain. But yeah, this is the perfect starting point to start off with Yakuza, okay? Because it's a prequel to the original, and it's so good, okay? The characters in this game are fantastic. The writing in this game is top tier stuff. You've also got some amazingly fun side stuff to do. Like, you can literally just piss around on this game for hours just doing silly, fun things.
I'm not being funny. What the fuck is going on?
In my opinion, this is the best Yakuza game, okay? This is still my favorite to this day, and it's just a perfect starting point if you want to get into Yakuza, okay? So pick this one up. How much is it? I've written it down. It's £8, okay? So £8 for this. Absolute bargain right there, and yeah, it's super, super worth it. Okay, then, boys, next up we got a game that I've played a couple of times, and each time I've played it, it scared the bejesus out of me, okay? And that's gonna be Alien Isolation. This game was scary, okay? This game will make you shit yourself a few times, okay? The xenomorphs in this game are some spooky guys, okay? They will jump you, and yeah, you won't like it. But if you like your horror games, maybe you will like it. In my opinion, this is just like the best Alien game ever made, okay? The way they've just recreated the movie atmosphere into this game is just perfect. And this game is perfect for those that enjoyed the first Alien movie more than the second one, okay? Obviously, Aliens is an amazing movie as well, but if you like the horror in the first one, then you'll definitely enjoy this game. Yeah, it's just a super enjoyable like horror game. It's got great characters, it's got a decent story, it's super enjoyable, and I don't know, it's just a good horror game. If you enjoy like Outlast games like that, then you'll definitely have fun with this one. Okay then, boys, next up we have got one of the best first-person shooters ever made, okay? And you can get this game for £4, okay? Which is way too cheap for how good it is, okay? And that is going to be Doom 2016, okay? This game is a perfect like first-person shooter. Absolutely incredible game. I just want to start off by talking about the soundtrack to this game. One of the best soundtracks ever composed, okay? It is just like, it is amazing metal music. If you like metal, you have to play this game. I don't think there's a single person on the planet that could play this game and not have fun, okay? It's incredibly gory, you've got tons of like different weapons and they're all enjoyable to use. It's such a good game, okay? And for £4, you have to play this one, okay? If there's any game on this list that you need to check out, it's got to be this one, okay? For that price. Alright, boys, next up we have got another horror game, okay? I feel like there's been a few horror games that we've been talking about today, but for some reason these horror games are super cheap and I just think they're worth playing. But that's going to be Resident Evil 7, okay? This is one of the cheaper Resident Evil games you can actually pick up. I also think it's one of the best Resident Evil games you can play, okay? This was at a time where Resident Evil was definitely on the decline, okay? After Resident Evil 6, a lot of people were a bit like fed up with the direction that Resident Evil was going in, so they knew they had to hit it out of the park with Resident Evil 7, okay? And my goodness did they. This is a perfect fucking horror game, okay? So like super duper fun as well, like not just for the spooks, but just actually playing it is incredibly fun. This is just classic old school Resident Evil vibes, but in obviously first person, and yeah, you can't really go wrong with this one, okay? This one is like £8, I think, and in my opinion, it's one of the best like horror Resident Evil games ever made. Okay then, boys, next up we've got a game that is my favorite in this series of games, and it is a really good series of games, so that's saying something, and that's gonna be Uncharted 4, okay? This is my favorite Uncharted game ever made. Not that I don't like the other Uncharted games, I really love Uncharted 2 in particular, but I just feel like Uncharted 4 has everything you could possibly want in a video game, okay? The story is impeccable. incredible. The characters are so well written. Visually, it is a masterpiece, okay? This game looks incredible even to this day, okay? The gameplay is ridiculously over the top and fun. This game literally had everything, okay? It's a bit of a slow burn. It doesn't like start off ridiculously quickly. It will take a couple hours to get into it properly, but once this game gets going, my god, does it get going, okay? Once it hooks you in, it won't let you go. So yeah, if you like the Uncharted series, lads, then, and you somehow, I don't know how you wouldn't have, but if you haven't played Uncharted 4, you need it, okay? Don't start with this one because you obviously want to get like the full story, so I would say start with Uncharted 1 and work your way up to it, but make sure you play this one, okay? Because this is the best of the series. So, okay, boys, the final game I want to talk about today is going to be Metal Gear Solid 5, okay? This game is just stealth perfection, okay? If you love your stealth games, then you would just absolutely adore Metal Gear Solid 5.
Those are just kids. Don't hurt them.
Man, fuck them kids, bro.
I won't sit here and lie to you and say this is my favorite Metal Gear in the series. I think Metal Gear Solid 3 would have to take that claim, okay? But in terms of just sheer gameplay, I don't think it gets much better than Metal Gear Solid 5. It's just so ridiculously enjoyable, and there's just so much, like, there's so much variety in gameplay. There's so many ways that you can take people out, and it's just a perfect stealth game in my opinion. The only reason it's not like my favorite Metal Gear game is really just the story. I didn't really love the story to this one as much as I did with the other ones, and also just like the structure of this game is a little bit weird. Obviously this is like a mainline Metal Gear game, but I always look at this one as more of a spin-off, okay? Because to me, this is more like Peace Walker 2 than it is Metal Gear Solid 5. And that's just always the way I've looked at it, you know, because it plays very similar to Peace Walker. But that's not to take away from this game by any means, okay? Because again, if you're just looking for a gameplay experience, then Metal Gear Solid 5 will deliver. Story-wise, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are mixed on it. I'm definitely on the side of I don't love it as much. But again, gameplay-wise, it's still absolutely stellar. Okay then, boys and girls, that is all of the games that I wanted to talk about today, okay? A ton of cheap games right here, and there's tons more, okay? This isn't every single like cheap PS4 game. This is just some that I had in my collection that I wanted to highlight today. So yeah, let me know in the comments, boys, what are some of your favorite PS4 games? What are some of your cheap ones that you would recommend to others? But yeah, other than that, boys and girls, subscribe here if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one, alright? Peace.